Hello and welcome back to my video. I'm Ash Purple and let's get into it. This week I decided that I wanted to do something a little different than I did last week. It was kind of a last minute inspiration where I decided to draw a model as well as draw an outfit. Now I started off with a Google search of a goth girl because I enjoy the way that the goth aesthetic looks. So I yanked a couple images off the internet. I believe it was the same girl for it. I seem to have really struggled with the hair, which is something I do often because I'm never sure exactly how I want it to look. So I did a couple different trial and error type things with it, and I eventually figured it out. I did use a reference from Pinterest. Overall, I think the end result for the hair shape ended up really good. It kind of reminded me of Starfire from a couple of her comic stories, like from Teen Titans. Her hair kind of looks long and curly, although in the drawing that I did, it is less curly, but it is still equally long and voluminous, I guess. And after that was over, I decided on a color. Black seemed like the most obvious choice because it is, after all, a goth model. And the face, honestly, for it was not as hard as I thought it would be. It was pretty simple once I got a couple of images up there. The nose was hard. I always struggle with noses. I hate drawing noses because I feel like they always look horrible. But it didn't look too bad. It looks a little like a button nose, I guess. And the body shape was pretty easy to come with too. But something I did do that was different this time is I drew a lace dress, and I found a couple of images online for that I really enjoyed. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to recreate it because I've never done any lace work at all for drawings. But I ended up spending like 8 hours solid, I think. Maybe 4. I don't know how many hours I did because I was just so concentrated on getting this lace done. But I think it looked really well, and I'm glad that there was a mirror tool or like the drawing assist on Procreate to help me with that. Honestly, I'm a little jealous that I can't have something that looks this good in person because I think personally it looks pretty good, and I know I'm ego boosting myself so much right now, but it just looks so intricate and detailed, and it's something I would have never been able to do without a drawing app that has all those features that I can use on it. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit like cheating to use Drawing Assist, and it's like cheating to use all the tools that the apps put on there for you, but it really just makes the job for the artist so much easier. And in the end, I think it's more beneficial than it is cheating because, like, everything that an artist can use could be considered cheating. I mean, references, for one, could be considered cheating, but I don't really think so because it helps the artist create a better image when they don't have to imagine it, especially when, like, in my head, imagining the things and then putting them on the paper is way harder than it is to, like, just see the reference that you're trying to go for and then just recreating it or adding your own spark onto it, which is way better than what I used to do when I just copy and pasted the entire thing that I could find. Like when I got manga books from my uncle, he would give me his drawing books and I would just copy, like, right off the paper. I'd trace it onto another piece of paper, which I think was also a good way to learn, but it's definitely not something that I would do as an artist. I definitely use a lot of reference images because I find, like, posing for, like, a human body picture of them doing, like, anything in motion is really hard for me, and that's something that I've been trying to work on. So I've got a couple of poses that I'm working on right now to see if I can make them look good. And I also really want to get into backgrounds because it seems like from the last video I did a lot of clothing, and this video I kind of added on to the clothing by doing a model and the clothes. And I did 2 models actually, and that's another thing is I'm also not very good at drawing men as a model. I've always ever just focused on women, and that's another thing I'd like to get better at. So there's a whole bunch of things that are eventually going to be coming out where I'm doing all this stuff, and then maybe next week it could be like backgrounds that I work on because there's a lot of images and a lot of like references and inspiration that I could use to start doing backgrounds. And right as I was talking about how I don't trace images anymore, I completely contradicted myself and I started tracing the hands because I cannot do it for the life of me, cannot draw hands. Add that to the list of things that I need to work on. So I did copy the position of her arm a little bit from one of the pictures that I used. So then I also, added tattoos onto her arm because it's never something I've ever really drawn before, and I thought it would look really nice. And then I just kind of changed the background because I felt like the white was really distracting. I also added green to the lace dress as well as a layer of green under her hair just to kind of give it a cohesive look because I was going for the green tint because I thought it looked really well, especially because her eyes are also green, so it would match with her overall aesthetic. And then we get into the male model, which I did originally want to use Thomas Doherty as the inspiration, and I kind of did, but then I kind of moved on to characters from webtoons that I've seen a lot. I cannot remember their names, but I will put it in the description and I will put pictures in there so that you can see the references. I did not directly copy that, but I did use it heavily as an inspiration. As well as for this model, I struggled very, very much with the hair, and I guess it was just a bad hair day for me because it took like 4 or 5 times to get it right, but eventually I got it right. But I took a break for a while because it just didn't seem to work out the way that I wanted to, and I figured if I just came back for it, it would work out. And it always does work out if you try it hard enough or try it as many times as you want. And I've been starting doing this thing where I keep the layers per the things that I want to fix so that I can kind of build off of the layers, and then I'll duplicate something I like if I want to change it in case it doesn't turn out the way that I want, so that I can just go back to the original. And that's something that I really appreciate about Procreate and like any drawing app, is that there's like layers that you can put on and take off, and that's something that's probably one of my favorite features. And as you see as we go along, you can tell that I couldn't decide if I wanted him to have long hair or short hair, but I really wanted him to have really long hair, but I just didn't want to do the whole like black out look with no outlines and like little to no details for the hair that I was seeing was popular with the characters that I wanted to use as inspiration. So I kind of went in a different direction. You'll see by the end of the drawing this that I definitely went in a lot of a different direction. I used some more anime style characters for the inspiration for the body because I thought that would be more easy than trying to draw a realistic body. And here you can see at about whenever I added all the muscles and I added all the other stuff, and I think it looks pretty decent. And then I added on like knees, and I wanted it to be more of a look on him. Again, thank God for drawing assist for this one because I would not have been able to get it exact on the other side. And here you can see me attempting to draw fingers, and I eventually got it because I used a reference from Pinterest. Again, Pinterest is probably one of my favorite things to use as an app for references, and I get stuck like sorting and organizing things for like so long. It's addicting. I really shouldn't be using Pinterest, but it's really good for inspiration and finding anything on there for like drawing and ideas, really anything. If you don't know about Pinterest, you should check it out. It definitely helps for a lot of stuff, but it's also very sidetractable, if you get what I mean. So yeah. Here you can see I get back into the hair and I try to do a ponytail, and I guess it started looking like a nine-tailed fox, and I took that off because I didn't think it looked very good. And here's like pretty much the base of the hairstyle that I went with. It's like a ponytail bun thing, and it's somewhat long, and I think it looks pretty good. And then I try to color it in, and here I'm doing like different eye things, and it just looks like such a meme right there. It does not look good, but it looks funny, and I kept those. And then I tried different eyes, and I made those ones too big that wouldn't fit there. And then I just worked on his face for a while because I wasn't sure what kind of eyes that I wanted, because I usually draw a lot wider eyes for like women that I draw. So then I was more focused on trying to make a different shape for eyes, because there's so many different shapes that I don't really use, and I feel like it would have looked better if I tried to put more narrow eyes, which is what usually happens with men in anime or manga type styles, unless they're like a cute like little child or something. And watching this footage back, I hope I don't get my video taken down for basically just having naked people on my videos. It's not like there's anything showing, but it's like definitely naked people. I focused on the clothes way after I was focused on the models, because I wanted to use them in future projects, or if I just want to model things off, so then I just could use them as use their layers as like later in different projects. So you can see that I made it more detailed, so I don't just like merge everything down. I made a duplicate of everything and then moved it over to a different group. And I feel like I worked on his face for so much longer than I worked on her face, and it's again because I'm not used to drawing masculine features on people, because I usually draw women, and it's just it took me so much longer than I needed it to take. And you can see I like drew the lines for kind of like keeping the portions in line, and I figured out that the nose was way too high up. And then I drew his mouth, and all the stuff was like reference stuff that I saw on Pinterest and whatever. And I didn't put it on here because you can do a split screen on an iPad, so you can have two apps open at once, which is actually what I'm doing right now. I'm scrolling through the video that I put together and doing the audio, but you can do that with the drawing app Procreate and Pinterest, so you can use like both at the same time to help you out drawing. And here I see I started doing the shading, and I wanted to do some tattoos, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with the tattoos, so I deleted that and came up with some inspiration of tattoos I've seen lately that I really liked. And finally here I started drawing the pants. I kind of am just pulling things out of my ass with this one, because I don't really know what to draw. I kind of wanted to do like a Hawaiian shirt, but wasn't sure about that. And then I decided that I wanted to fix his legs, because I didn't think they looked like leggy enough, I guess. So I redid that, and I think that turned out pretty good. And then I redid his pants because I didn't like his pants. I'm a very picky artist, alright? I like to make things look good, and sometimes they don't look all the way good, but they look better than what I started off with. Again, using references helps you make your art better. And since I am using these two apps at the same time, I kind of get ahead of myself, because I just keep scrolling and see what I'm doing before I say what I'm doing, because I'm like processing what I'm going to say, and then I get it out. So every image is a little bit after what I've already said. But anyway, you can see at this point that I did the legs. I restarted doing the legs, and that took me a second. And then I started doing the pants, and I think they look a lot better after using a reference. I still wanted like that cutout jean type look, but I definitely used a reference image because I thought it would look better. I think the first pants looked alright, but I think these ones look way better than the first ones. And then I did some chains, and I thought that would look good, and I put purple shadows under it just to see how it would look. And then I started on the shirt, and the shirt again was a difficult process because I just struggled the whole time with this whole thing. It took me way longer than it should have, but you can see me like doing a couple of different designs, and I tried to do some of that same lace work that I did for the girl, which her name is Morgana. I named her Morgana, and this is Crow, by the way. I know, super edgy of me, but my 12-year-old is living out fantasies of actually being able to draw what I want to draw, like with actual talent or skill, whichever one you want to call it. I got a little bit ahead of myself again this time, but you can see that what I was saying is actually happening. So I'm doing the lace work. It took a little bit less time to do the lace work for this, obviously, because there's less to do. and I was trying to do a pattern of any kind. I didn't really know what I was gonna do with this shirt. I wanted it to kind of look like a Hawaiian shirt, but I didn't want it to look too like campy, I guess. So then I decided that I wanted it to be tucked in on one side, and I thought that would look really nice, and I think it looks pretty decent. And then I was like, but I don't really want it to just be like see-through purple, so I added more color. And then I picked up doing the hair again because I didn't like how short it was and I wanted to make it longer. I didn't want it to be black, so I added some color and then I did layers to it, and then I added more layers, and then I added more layers, and guess what? Some more layers, because you cannot have too many layers with hair, I guess, as long as it looks good. I decided that he needs more tattoos, and I spent 10 minutes on this. By the way, while I was doing this second whole part, like when I was drawing the clothes and stuff, I was watching My Lottery Dream House with I cannot remember what the guy's name is, but he's such a funny host. I'll have to remember. I first started watching My Dream Lottery House, or My Lottery Dream House. It's My Lottery Dream House. When I was in the hospital one time, and he was like so upbeat and so positive. I believe his name is David Bromstead? Maybe. I was watching him like tour around houses and whatnot, and I cannot believe how big some of those houses was. It was insane. Like, truly insane. Back to the topic on hand. You may have seen that I went back to Morgana. And I also added a little background for Crow's picture, which I did with the other one. And I also added blue and green to his shirt, which I thought looked pretty snazzy. I'd definitely wear that if it was a real shirt. So I went back to Morgana and I copy-pasted all of her stuff onto a new project so that I could make new clothes. Because guess what? I had more than one inspiration for the week, and it was cottagecore. Yes, I have been watching and consuming every cottagecore, hobbitcore, fantasycore video that I can watch in the last fucking 4 days. So you can see I added onto her base to make her full body, and I decided to start adding stuff on there that I thought would look good, and it took me a little bit. At first I wanted her to have pants, and I thought the pants looked really good, but then my artist brain decided, no, she needs something way more elaborate, and you'll see that as we go on, because I cannot help myself from making things super elaborate. Once I finished out all this outfit, I decided to stay with the green, because I thought it was gonna look good for the hair. And I did like 45 different hairstyles, again, because I can't just make it easy on myself. And then I decided to go with red because I needed to finish this video so that I could get it out today. And I will probably get it out today if I finish recording it real fast here, because my brain went, no, you're not going to think of anything to say when you come to record it like last night. So I had to wait till today, when my brain was like, yes, you can finally think again. Anyway, that was all for my video today. You can see my erratic inspiration and other things in this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, and have a nice day. Subscribe or paint that like button. Thank you all.